Hey, this is Stevie TV, and I am reviewing The Mummy. No, not Brendan Fraser's Mummy. If you want to see that review, you're going to have to find a VHS of me when I was 10. But I am reviewing Tom Cruise's Mummy. And I wasn't crazy about the casting of Tom Cruise in this movie, and I ended up not enjoying his performance in this movie. The character wasn't written well, so it's not all his fault. But it's still Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is one of those guys when he's in a movie, he plays Tom Cruise, and I see him as Tom Cruise, and now it's just Tom Cruise running through the Mummy and Dark Universe. And it's frustrating. So I felt like that was distracting, and it was just Tom Cruise. He's past his expiration date. He's an older actor now. Kind of felt like when you watch Harrison Ford in the fourth Indiana Jones, where it's just an old guy now. It's not the same Tom Cruise we know and love when he was in Top Gun and the early Mission Impossible movies. So he's just forcing the flirtation with the character Jenny. He's forcing the wit, and it was kind of also mailing it in too. So it was strange to see Tom Cruise in this role. It's definitely a miscast. The female lead, Jenny, was all right, but she was kind of bland. Nothing really about her character. I still don't feel like I know anything about her. She was cool. She was, a strong female lead, but she wasn't interesting. That was a problem. The comic relief, his friend Chris, that was really weird because he's in the beginning and his jokes are just bombing. I don't think he was that funny. And I've seen it before. It's like a tired formula. And then he just gets killed by Nick. And then you see him come back as this weird, mummy hallucination to Tom Cruise. And it was just too convenient because the friend was just guiding him where to go in his head. So it was so weird and kind of a cheat storyline-wise. But parts I did like in the movie. I didn't hate this movie as much as the critics did. I thought it was entertaining. And a part I liked was the Dr. Jekyll introduction with Russell Crowe. I think he plays a good Dr. Jekyll. It's more interesting and refreshing because now this is opening up the Dark Universe, which is all these former classic monster stories from Universal that they're remaking. I like the idea of it. It's different because it's not superheroes that everyone's doing now, so it's a breath of fresh air, and I thought it was interesting because didn't feel like totally like a remake of The Mummy because we see Dr. Jekyll's lab and he's studying the monsters and he's like a cool connection of all these creatures that are going to come about. And it was really cool seeing the creature of the Black Lagoons, maybe that was his hand in that jar. That was probably my favorite moment to get me hyped. And we, of course, got the Bride of Frankenstein coming. Frankenstein was going to be played by Javier Bardem. Bride of Frankenstein might be Angelina Jolie, she'll be 6, so I'm excited for that. But to start with The Mummy was a little weird to kick off this Dark Universe series, and it distracted in the sense of it didn't feel like a Mummy movie because they knew they were opening this universe and they had to introduce all this stuff with Dr. Jekyll. So maybe it would have been better if they just made a Dr. Jekyll movie to start and introduce his whole idea about studying creatures and monsters instead of putting it on The Mummy because it just didn't work. And it made all the character development in this Mummy movie feel rushed, and it didn't really feel like a Mummy movie. It just felt like an introduction to the Dark Universe with some Mummy elements. However, I did like the villain. I think she was a good mummy, Princess Aminette, and I think that I wish we saw more of her. I think she played it well, and she was cool, and she was scary, but she had a disappointing final battle there with her and Tom Cruise just fighting each other, and I wasn't crazy about Tom Cruise getting the power of, I think it's Spot or whatever, that guy. Correct me, I'm definitely wrong at that, but the other guy that the woman was trying to use, and he gets this god's power and he can resurrect people. So he resurrects Jenny and then he resurrects his friend in the desert. It was kind of just really, that's the power? And it wasn't. And then they were she's praising him you sacrificed yourself for me, but he really didn't because he's alive, he's fine. And then they keep saying he's cursed. The curse saved him from dying from that plane. So it was how is that a curse? He got the good end of it at least because his friend got all screwed up, but he's gets to live and he resurrects people. So that was kind of weird, and it was written weird. But overall, it wasn't terrible. Again, it's not a great movie, but it's one of those pretty bad movies that's still entertaining. It's not boring. So that I was grateful for, because a lot of movies are just boringly bad, but this was still some good action sequences. I still enjoyed it as a movie. It's a popcorn flick, but obviously, Star of the Universe is a disappointment, and Tom Cruise was in the right casting. And it's no Brendan Fraser Mummy. Come on, people. You can't beat that. But overall, I'm excited for the Dark Universe and what's to come. I will give this movie, though, a 6. Wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as people are saying. I still think it's something to check out and hopefully take it as just an introduction and get excited for what's to come with the Dark Universe because I have faith in Universal. I hope they do the right thing and make these a little more scarier than this one, and some more character development for sure, because I did not feel attached to this movie or any connections of humanity at all. It was all over the place. But hopefully the next one will be better. And please come back to watch my reviews. I review a bunch of shows. I just finishing up Better Call Saul. I reviewed Leftovers. And I'm about to be reviewing Preacher and Game of Thrones. And I'll be reviewing a movie every week. So please subscribe. I'm so grateful if you do. And comment below. I respond to everybody. And please give this video a like. And thank you for watching. And follow @StevieTV Show on Twitter and Instagram, and @SteveVarley1.